In this video, we are going to talk about the SAT and what it stands for and what it tests. And so this is the general introduction, and we're going to start with that question. What does the SAT test? Now, many people are afraid when they hear those letters, SAT, because this test was once called the Standard Aptitude Test. And that word aptitude makes it sound like your ability, your skill level, is etched in stone and cannot change. And for that reason, many students have lots of trepidation or fear when it comes to the SAT because they think, uh-oh, the SAT tests how smart you are, and then they freak out, become frustrated, etc. Well, I'm here to tell you that that is not true. It is not a test of your aptitude or your ability. It is definitely not etched in stone. That is, your SAT score is something that can change. Then, what does the SAT test exactly? Does it test your ability or how well you will do in college? That makes sense, right? You're about to go to college, here's a test. Let's see how well you do on the test. The thing about this, though, is they've only found a weak correlation or relationship between SAT test scores and how well you do in college. So it doesn't really answer this question here. Well, what about how well you did in high school? Well, maybe you know someone with a GPA who did really well on the SAT. And vice versa, maybe you know someone with straight A's who did not so well on the SAT. So it doesn't really test the second question here either. Does the SAT test how well you take the SAT? Well, that is an interesting question. And before I answer that, let's go to the next slide here. And we're going to talk about the SAT actually tests. And then I'll answer that final question. Well, it tests your ability to remain focused for a really long time. We're talking about 4 hours here of sitting in one place with like a little measly break to drink some water and close your eyes for a second and then go back in and take another grueling section. So definitely test your ability to remain focused for a long time. It also tests your ability to reason with numbers and decipher complicated word problems, as I'm sure you are familiar with if you've seen any of the SAT math questions. It tests your ability to recognize grammatical rules. It tests your ability to write an example-heavy essay, and I should probably add one that has some analysis in there as well. But again, the SAT is looking for a specific kind of essay, and so the SAT tests an example-heavy essay. It also tests your ability to understand vocabulary in context. What that means is it doesn't just want you to know the dictionary definition of the word, but the SAT tests your ability to recognize how words function in a sentence. Well, what else does it test? It tests your ability to read long, complex passages. As I'm sure, again, you are well aware of if you've ever sat through a 100-line reading comprehension passage followed by 13 questions. And so here it is. This is what the SAT actually tests. And all of this is on the SAT, so yes, the SAT tests your ability to do well on the SAT. If you get a perfect score, it doesn't mean you'll do well in college. If you don't do well on the SAT, it doesn't mean you won't do well in college. So get that all out of your head. The SAT just tests how well you take this test. And guess what? That's something that you can definitely change, that I've seen many, countless students change over time, because your score or your ability on the SAT is something that you can easily change starting here. And that's what we're going to talk about in the subsequent videos, the following videos, and it's something that you're going to realize as you practice more and more questions here at Magoosh.